Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to the Tennessee Valley Railroad. I've been wanting to come out here for quite some time after seeing videos of Ravenhawk, from Ravenhawk 6910 from the museum, and when the National Guard and Railway Convention announced that they were going to have their event in Tennessee, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to come out here and visit the Tennessee Valley Railroad. So we'll take a look around and see what they have here, and we'll go from there. So we'll walk down here, see some more stuff here. So I'm going to assume that's like a 10,000 gallon steam air tank car, since it has friction boxes on it. Sorry if the video gets shaky, but I am walking. For those who are in G scale, there's your Dakman hopper car. Southern Bay window caboose. At this point in the video, Ravenhawk 6910 meets up with me at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum and helps me narrate the rest of this video. And I thank Ravenhawk 6910 for helping me out shooting video and explaining all these different trains that are at the museum. TVR visit video. Atlantic Coastline. Is this really an original Atlantic Coastline?
Original Atlantic Coastline used on the Champion and other trains.
So everything that I'm seeing here is pretty much originally, original type of equipment, like this Louisville, Nashville.
Yep, Louisville, Nashville, Cross Keys Tavern. It's actually one of the newer ones to the museum. Came from the Indiana Transportation Museum before they went belly up. They just finished the restoration a couple years ago now. It debuted during the L&N convention trip. It still needs some work, though, to get it fully operational, but it was good enough for the convention.
What can you tell me about this 5288?
5288, she is a, believe it or not, Canadian National steam locomotive. Montreal Locomotive Works product.
Wow.
Came down from Steamtown several years ago.
Oh, so this was an original Steamtown piece?
Yep, part of the original collection that was in Vermont, and then went to Pennsylvania. The plan, I believe, originally was to have it be as a stand-in for a Southern Railway PS4 Pacific. But then the president of the museum at the time passed away, and he was kind of the spearhead of the project, so it's ended up semi-cosmetically restored here in the display yard. Its stoker engine and then one of its air compressors was also taken off the engine and put inside the 4501 when they restored it. So those were much needed upgrades in terms of the 01 to make it a more efficient locomotive to operate, especially on the main line.
So will this always be displayed, or do they plan on moving forward with some kind of making it so it's under power again?
I would say more likely than not 5288 is going to remain a display piece unless some major funding comes along.
Then we have this Louisville and Nashville caboose.
This one was a bit of an oddball. It showed up here in Georgia Railroad colors a couple years ago, and it was cosmetically restored in time for the L&N convention.
So was it originally an L&N?
Yep, it was originally an L&N. They traded them to the Georgia Railroad.
Oh, okay. And for those of you who are wondering who's helping me with this narration, none other than Ravenhawk 6910. So make sure you check out his YouTube channel, Ravenhawk 6910. And he did the narration for Green Frog, is that right?
Well, just recently I've started working with Green Frog, and I also do my own stuff on my own channel for Railfan videos, and I also narrated the Tennessee Central documentary over on Delay and Block Productions channel, so check that out as well.
All right, thank you. And I'm glad that he's here helping me because he is a lot more knowledgeable about trains than I am. I can show them to you, but I don't know much about them. And since this is in his neck of the woods, so what are we doing with these pieces here? That looks
These
like...
are two original Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis cars from the City of Memphis passenger train. This is one of the actual observation cars from the train. It's a blunt end observation car. In fact, if you went around to the other side, you could see it. These are owned by a private owner and are just kept here, so these technically don't belong to the museum.
Oh, okay. And then we have this cool Southern caboose.
On the other side of the Cross Keys Tavern.
All right. So what we got here with this 8669? I've never seen anything quite like this before.
8669 is a Alco RSD-1. It was actually built for the U.S. Army Transportation Corps. And this was actually, the museum at one time, I believe, had 3 or 4 of these.
Really?
And the sister to this unit, 8677, is still around, but it's stored off property. 8669 last ran, I think, in 2009. So, but it is an original Alco 251 prime mover. And yeah, it's just really cool. And the reason the roof is curved the way it is to fit through European tunnels, because these were originally designed to operate in Europe.
Oh, wow.
In fact, if you look over here, according to this, it says, other locomotives were specifically designed for service overseas in the years immediately following World War II. European tunnels were narrower than those in the United States, hence the narrow curved cab.
Wow, okay, cool.
So this was the very first variant of the Tennessee Valley paint scheme, and it's basically just the Army paint scheme, but with Tennessee Valley on the name.
So the Army actually had a blue color? Is that blue?
It's black. It's
black.
It's just faded. Now this is going to look familiar to a lot of rail fans because this is Southern Railway number 3170. This is the very first SD40 that was built for the Southern Railway. And this is actually the same one that Norfolk Southern restored a few years ago at Altoona and then repainted here in Chattanooga at their shop. And it actually ran on NS for a few years in this Southern Railway paint scheme before it was donated to the museum.
Wow.
In fact, it also assisted the 4501 on a few of its mainline trips. So you had the first SD40 for the Southern Railway assisting the first Mikado-class steam locomotive built for the Southern.
Nice.
And it's currently stored here. It was operating over Enterprise South, where TVRM has some of their freight operations. But it needs a new prime mover.
Oh.
So, in time, the museum is going to hopefully get a new prime mover for this thing and get it running again. And a cool little detail right here, something I like on these casted trucks. You can actually see the EMD stamp right here.
Yes. When I visited the B&O Railroad Museum, they had a GP40 there that had the EMD stamping in the trucks.
And 3170's actually still got some of her NS markings right here, so this is something they put on as a little warning label.
Cool. What is this 913?
913's an Alco RS1. It's actually a bit of an oddball because it's got the chopped nose on the other end.
Oh.
So,
Any reason why they chopped the nose on the other end?
just better visibility from the front.
So the way they chopped it almost looks like a switcher in a way.
Well, from this angle, forward, you would think it was an S1.
Yes.
Because it looks like an S1, but if you come around here to the front, you can see the chopped nose.
Okay.
The difference between the S1 and the RS1 was the extended length on the nose, on the frame.
Okay.
And the main reason for that was a lot of times the RS1s were used in passenger service, so the nose would house a steam generator. That's probably not the case with this unit, but you can see here what they did with the nose here to chop it down and the larger windows.
Oh, okay. So what can you tell me about this Wabash caboose? It's very interesting.
It's been here for several years. It's mainly one of the display items that's used to for self-guided tours, along with the baggage car that's in front of it. In fact, they were parked over here not too long ago, but I believe they're getting ready to be moved for restoration again. Because just sitting out here in the elements, they get weathered down.
Yeah.
I think the last time the Wabash caboose got repainted was 2009. So it's been a while.
Wow. And just that little amount of time, the paint's already faded. So what we have here is Southern Dining Car number 3164. Is this the car that I normally see you eating dinner on?
No. This one's actually on loan to the museum from the Southern Appalachia Railway Museum in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Okay.
But it's a sister to the 3158, which is down here. This is TVRM's own diner. And the Grand Trunk Western Silver Lake is also owned by the museum. The two videos that I filmed, first one was in the 3157, which is the Traveler's Fair.
Okay.
And then the second one was in the Pullman, which is the Clover Colony, which is ahead of it.
The food looked pretty good on the videos you shot on the dinner trains.
It really is, and all prepared on the train. It's not catered or anything like that.
Oh, they actually prepare the food on the train?
Yeah.
So they must have like a kitchen car?
The kitchen's in the dining car.
Oh, okay.
Each dining car has its own kitchen.
Wow, that's nice.
And that's how it was back in the day as well. The Silver Lake actually came from the now dead, what was the name of that group it came from? Some group in Michigan. But they finally closed their doors and they donated the Silver Lake to TVRM, and they donated their observation car, which was here for a while, the 6604, to the North Carolina Transportation Museum.
Okay. So here we have the Clover Colony you were talking about.
Right.
And this is one of the cars that they use for the dinner train.
Right. This is a Pullman section. There's seating in there, and there's also beds that convert down as well. There's some private bedrooms in there as well.
Wow.
Reportedly, the car was used by Marilyn Monroe at one point, but we can't confirm or deny that. That's just what the story tells us. But this car actually came from the Southern Pacific originally.
Okay. And how about the Traveler's Fair?
Yeah, that's the Southern Railway diner. That's the twin to the 3164 that's in original Southern Railway colors. Traveler's Fair was the name applied to the car when it came to the museum.
Okay. What do you know about this number 710?
710 is a Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis. Started off as a GP7, but internally it's a GP9 now. And we can walk down here to it. And it was a passenger service GP9, GP7 rather, excuse me. And went to the L&N after the NC and St. L was fully absorbed into the L&N. And served some time on freight service there, and then it was eventually sold to Amtrak for use on maintenance of way service on the Northeast Corridor. And it stayed there until it came to the museum, I think in 2004, I want to say. So, and then it got the full NC and St. L repaint at that time. So it's been this way ever since. For years it was used up at the Hiawassee trip up out of Etowah, Tennessee. And within the last few years it's come back down to Chattanooga.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm pointing all this out for me and narrating this video for me, basically.
That'll be $40.
$40. Help, I need a donation from everybody, from the viewers, to pay Ravenhawk his $40.
Hashtag get Raven his 40s.
There you go. Hashtag get Raven his 40s. The Railroad Valley, or Tennessee Valley Railroad Grand Junction, is this a building that they built, or has this been here?
Yeah, this was built in the 1980s.
Okay.
And there's the state historic marker off to your left.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty nice.
You can see the road number right there inside the door leading into the car, 726. And that was the number it wore on the Southern Railway, but down here it wears its original Central of Georgia number, 390.
Okay.
They just repainted it to its Central of Georgia colors before the Christmas season last year. This car came up from the Western Maryland Scenic, along with the Norfolk and Western, Randolph and Bacon College, which is down on the other end of the train.
Alright, so we'll be riding the baggage area of the Central of Georgia.
Yep.
So me and Ravenhawk climb aboard the Central of Georgia passenger car, and we get to ride into the baggage compartment part of that passenger car so we can get better video footage and photo shots. And I really appreciate the Tennessee Valley Railway Museum working with us like this.